Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea, and I thought tonight I would do a live stream. Um, wasn't really sure if I would or not, and since I didn't announce it, um, I don't know if anybody will be here. If they are, that's great. We're going to talk about earning a Filipina's respect, so you can certainly chime in and we can talk about that. Um, this is a topic I covered on some videos earlier on, and it was kind of a long time ago, sometime last year, and I don't quite think it got the attention it should for this topic. So I thought, why not just get out my points here and do a live stream if anybody's there and wants to talk about how they earn the respect of their Filipina, the right way to go about that. My wife and I got married very, very quickly. We've been married about 3 months short of 4 years now. So naturally, we need to get to know each other, and I still want to earn her respect. And so, Love Beyond the Sea is a pro Filipina, pro marriage channel for serious minded men who are interested in a Filipina or who already have one and want to have somebody else to talk to about this. And again, me, I was alone for so long, and I finally had to give up on trying to find somebody in America and decided to look to the Philippines. And seems like no sooner that I did that I had a wife. So without further ado, we're going to talk about earning a Filipina's respect. I do believe that the husband has a position that the wife should respect. I think that's very biblical. By the same token, I believe any person in any kind of authority role needs to have that respect earned by the way they treat people. My supervisor, I have to respect his position. Police, people in politics, you have to respect their position. But if they're not going to act in an appropriate way, they're not going to earn your respect. You might grit your teeth and respect their position, but we can do better than that. So these are just going to be a whole bunch of quick, pretty much one line things that I've tried to do over the last almost 4 years now. And so if it's not too dark here for me to read these, no particular order. And anytime somebody wants to jump in and say, yeah, I agree with that one, or come up with something that works for you, please share that. And one of many things you can do is just tell your Filipino wife thank you often. You can tell her thank you for the way she keeps the nice organized house. I know my wife wasn't working today, and she was up when I was this morning, starting to clean. So I come home and the place smells really good when I get down here. So I know she's cleaned down here in the living room and the bathroom. And, I appreciate that. I always like coming home to a clean, organized house. It just makes me feel better about things. So tell her thank you for if she's a good housekeeper. Tell her how much you appreciate that. She's the one that basically does the laundry. Tell her thank you for that. Tell her that you appreciate her intimacy. That's one big reason you probably married her. So, tell her thank you for that. You appreciate that. That you need that. Um, Even things that she buys. My wife bought some car seat covers for our cars, and so I told her, thank you for that. I constantly, now that she packs all of the food for both of us for work, I'll give her a little text at break and say, hey, thanks for the sandwich, or thanks for the burgers, or thanks for whatever, the scrambled eggs. And because I do appreciate that. I don't really want to be doing it myself, although I did obviously for many years as a single person. But my wife's a Filipina. She likes to do the cooking. It's important to her. And so if I want to earn her respect, I need to let her know that I notice that, and that I am appreciative of it. So whatever you're thankful for, and again, no particular order, but you can earn her respect by helping her find a job. Most Filipinas that come here will want to work. I think even if you might have $1 million and show it to her, she still probably wants to work because she feels like it's not your responsibility to be, taking care of the family that she knows and loves. So, she wants to work. If you want to help, that's fine, but um, disallowing her, saying no, I don't want you to work for whatever reason. Obviously, you'd want to talk about that before she got here, because she's going to probably want to work. So help her find a job would be a good way to earn respect. Also, when she gets to your country, be aware that she's going to be homesickness, and it's probably going to be, it could be pretty severe. My wife came about 9,800 flight miles away, and when I was there, it felt like it took forever. Coming back, it was not so bad because I was married and very excited. But I could see her, imagine her coming over here and having all that time, airports, layovers, flights, thinking about what she's done. So when she gets here, it really helps if I am patient with her and to allow her time to go through homesickness, spend quality time with her, let her spend time with her family, because that's always going to be important to her. Another thing, just random ideas here. Please, anybody that stops by, just let me know what works for you for earning your Filipina's respect. Don't force her to be an American. Um, it's possible she's not even all that crazy about uh, America or your country. She's a Filipina, her heart's in the Philippines, family and friends are back there in the Philippines, and she may not know a whole lot about your country. So, just be, don't force her to, like adapt to the ways of your country, and don't say, well, that's the way we do things here, because she's been in the Philippines for, about 99% of, oh, well, 100% of her life if she just got to your country. So she's going to need some time to adjust. So just be patient with her there. Another thing, even if you're not used to eating Asian foods like I wasn't, but finding Asian restaurants, places to buy Asian food is something that she will appreciate. Up until about a week ago, the closest Filipino restaurant to where we live was about 200 miles away. It's about 3.5, 4 hour drive. And we were thinking about maybe we go there someday just for a long road trip and something to talk about, get away from stuff, and talk in the car and then check out this restaurant. But just recently, there's one that opened up about 60 miles from here. So that's a place we've got to go. My wife knows somebody at the church she used to be a friend with before they moved. Their husband got a different job, so we could see them, check out this restaurant, maybe even meet them there, and that sort of thing is something you might want to do. You'll certainly earn her respect if you say, well, I'll try these foods. Maybe you already like Asian food. I never ate it, and so I'm learning, what my favorites are. Another thing, help this your wife to find friends. At least encourage that she finds friends, and they don't necessarily have to be Filipinas. I started thinking about this as soon as I got back from marrying her, and my pastor fortunately knew somebody that was married to a Filipina. I emailed him. He gave me his email. I emailed him and let him know what the situation was. I married a Filipina. I'm going to be bringing her back whenever the immigration process goes through. It took about 8 months before she could get here, and that was the first Filipina she knew. She's probably known 5 or 6 others. Kind of surprises me, and but different ages. And and her friends don't have to be Filipinas, but that's been a real pleasure for me. And we've even got together with them on some, I guess you'd call them group dates with their husbands. So help her find friends. And then, as I alluded to earlier, allow plenty of space for her to communicate with her family. That will help earn her respect. And, this is just something that if you're not expecting it, it could be very irritating, for the husband that she spends so much time on social media. I did a video on social media here recently. Be patient, let her have all the space that she needs to be on social media, Facebook, whatever it is, to be with her family, and she's going to miss them terribly. The first time I was ever away from home was only about 8 hours away, and it was about 400 miles, and I felt like I was on the other side of the world. It was, I wasn't expecting it, and it was so far away, I didn't even bother going home. At least it seemed so far away to me. I can only imagine what, adding on over 9,000 more miles would be like, where it's 4 flights and a long ways away. So allow plenty of space to communicate with her family. Also, ask about her family and remember things about her family. She will respect you for that. When you're in the process of getting to know her before you marry her, you're going to be asking her, hopefully, about her family and memorizing her some of her siblings' names. And once she's with you, it certainly is a good idea to try to keep up with her. How's your sister? How's mama? How's papa? And then commit it to memory and just ask. Is this situation better? How is that going? How's his niece doing in school? Or anything at all. And she will respect that, I am sure. Also, if possible, if their English is decent, you can communicate with her family too. I know they probably weren't very comfortable with me at first, and I don't think they talk English a lot when they're together, even if they know it. And so maybe their English isn't so good, but over the last almost 4 years now, I try to be there when my wife is talking, if we're in bed, and let them know that I'm there, and you wave. At least you can wave, or you can ask your wife to ask them the question you have, and slowly kind of build up some camaraderie with her family is a big way to earn the respect of your Filipina. Also, lots of ways. Have her picture in visible places. I've got, I think there's a couple of three computers at work that I get around to using, and I've got her screenshots there. And she's on my phone as a screenshot, so she can see that I have her showing up in different places. And encourage her to take pictures. Usually with a Filipino, that's pretty easy to do. When I open up my locker at work, I've got on the inside some pictures, I think from our wedding, and so everybody can see those, and she knows I'm crazy about her. But having those pictures around shows her you're proud of her, and that'll earn her respect. Encourage her to give money to her family. In other words, don't try to prevent it. I mean, and again, I don't want to get into the money thing, but that's something that you need to discuss before you get married, and bring her over. Talk about how that's going to work. Is she going to be working? If so, how much does she think she'll be spending back home? Do you need her to use some of her earnings for you? And I know my wife has volunteered to help out with some bills, and I've allowed her to, and she works 55 hours a week now, and she helps her family, and it's certainly possible that the woman you marry is not going to be asking you to be doing things monetarily for her family that she considers, her own responsibility. Now, in time, you can always help her and say, "Hey, hon, I'd like to help with this, or is there something I can do?" And doing that, is going to earn big respect for her because her family's, one of the most important things in the world to her. Also, if it's possible, I'm not saying it's always possible, depending on the money situation, but if you can let her know she can visit the Philippines now and then, and try to go with her, that would be a good thing. I mean, if there's a death in the family, probably um, she's going to want to go back, but it'd be nice for her to go back when it's not a situation like that. And just an idea. My wife just went there recently without me, which I didn't like, but I was not able to go anyway. It just had to be without her for a while. But she had plenty to do, was very, very busy. And we're going to be going back ourselves in December, which would be my third time there. And I'm warming up to it. And it shouldn't be as hot in December like it was in March, April, and May. Another way, let her try different things to see if she has a knack for things that, she might never have had an opportunity to find out. My wife has mechanical inclination, I think. So when she goes to work, I try to tell her, well, hey, don't be afraid to ask somebody to teach you this stuff or that machine or that on the computer, because she has a knack for those things. I mean, she put together our lawnmower out of the box. She put together the what do you call that thing that takes care of it's an edger, goes around and around and takes care of the grass up against the house. She put that together. I wouldn't do that. She fixes things around here. So I tell her, she's the type of person that would rather try to fix it herself. I'd rather just pay somebody to do it. But, now that I'm married, she wants the first crack at it. In fact, we had a TV of my mom's that we really think just conked out. She got it when she bought some furniture. I don't think it was probably the greatest TV, but one that looks good right away, probably doesn't last very long. So we bought her another one, and my wife says, she wants a chance to try to see if she can still play around with it and get it to work later. So, if she wants to try to do stuff like that, I let her, and I think that's a way to earn her respect. Now, I will say that when I came on here, this didn't look the same way. Let's see. Let's see if I click this. Okay, there we go. I didn't want to. Yeah, I thought maybe somebody might be here, but I clicked on the wrong thing and I didn't see any comments. So I apologize. Yeah, Michael, John 14:6. I was wondering if you might be there. It's got to be about 5:19 in the morning. I'm up at that time because I have to go to work. So yeah, hi from General Santos. And Michael, I know I think you're hopeful of marrying your Filipina. Let me know what you've got, any thoughts on things that will help you earn her respect. As I said earlier, the wife should respect the position of the husband, but that doesn't give him license to not be respectful. So he needs to earn that. Phil's to Phoenix. Hi, John. Have not heard from you for a while. I noticed you had a video up there, and you are in the Philippines as well. No wonder you've been busy. You've been out of the country. So we're just talking about earning the respect of your Filipina. Very important. So try different things for your wife. See what she can do, and encourage her. Also, teach her to drive. And that's more necessary here than in the Philippines. If she's going to stay here, live here long term, depending on where you live, if it's not life threatening to have her go out there. I know you gotta trust her that you can teach her how to drive, or somebody teaches her how to drive. Here where we live, it's I mean, it's always dangerous. Somebody just got killed about a mile up the road last year in an intersection that it's a big intersection, but somehow it could be dangerous. It was that time. So if she wants to drive, and you're not living in some really busy place where it's dangerous, you might think about teaching her. My wife's very well, she wanted to drive. She I don't know if she just thought it was a cool thing to do, but she wanted to drive, and I said, okay, I guess so. So we found a driving place. I actually gave her lessons in the Philippines, 12 weeks, and then she came here, found an adult driving class. I think that was 6 weeks of lecture, 6 weeks of driving. We went out. We had our rough moments, of course, but she's a real good driver now. So, if you feel like you have to prohibit her from driving, I understand that, because it kind of depends where you live and what things are like. But here, we don't live in a big major city like Los Angeles, so it was easier for her to learn how to drive. When I talked about respecting the role of the husband, I did talk to my wife about biblical roles of the husband. I am to provide, I'm to protect. I feel like I'm the one that should be making the decisions in our relationship. If we just cannot agree with something, I want to defer to her, but there's no point in arguing. If something is really important, then she should need to let me make that decision, or else we're just going to do nothing but argue and be unhappy. So that's a whole topic in itself. But be a spiritual leader. Talk about your role. You can read the Bible to her. I've got this friend from work years ago sends me, and others, like a Bible verse of the day, and that's something I can talk to her about. Pray with your wife. Certainly pray for her family with her. Pray for her together with her. Ask her how her family's doing, for the purpose of praying for her family. Lost your Philippine internet connection. Wow. You must have the same system Tom's been having trouble with the last couple of live streams. Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures, wonderful channel. He's got like approaching 4,000, lots of really good information. I've got a question I thought of next time I'm on there. I've got to ask him about with insurance. Since he's been there, he can answer those questions. My interest here on Love Beyond the Sea is the relationship with the Filipina, anywhere from should you be involved with the Filipina, encouraging people to look overseas, helping them through the online process, communication, asking questions, all kinds of things. And the longer I'm married, the more topics there will be to talk about. And so, I want to be continuing to share those things with you. So, and go to church with her, of course, even if she can't be with you, still try to go. That shows her you want to lead her spiritually. Also, this is just something I'll throw out there. Be open to her wanting to go to a different church. Originally, my pastor helped me or encouraged me to even look to the Philippines, and he knows everything about, mostly everything about my recent past and my struggles with being alone and my relationship with Isa. So I kind of thought, well, we will be here at my church, of course, no problem. But my church is like a small 70, 75 people, non-denominational church. And, half are older and half are, big families, I would say. Of quite a bit different than the church environment I experienced with her. I think it might have been the first time there when we went to get married, and definitely more modern, up tempo. That's not the word I want, but I'm talking about, not traditional. And it was really loud. I'm kind of glad we were sitting towards the back there. Completely different. And I told my wife, I prefer that we go to our place out of respect for, Pastor Scott and all he's done for me, and talking to Isa before we got married on Skype. And for a while, I thought my wife might want to go to another church because there was another Philam couple there. In fact, another Filipina was going there that was not married. But I think she decided she would stay with me for the time being at my church. But I was willing to go to a church that she would be more comfortable with, because she is 27 years younger. And so being in a church with a lot of older people might not be her thing. But, she's fine. She knows most everybody's name. She's really good with names. Even the basketball players, when we go to some basketball games, she knows their names too. So really good with names. Also, another way here, just don't feel embarrassed. Don't let her think that you're embarrassed about marrying a younger woman from the Philippines. If that's what you're looking for, if you have your reasons for that, don't do anything that would, give her the impression you're shy or awkward to be with her in public, or awkward or shy to talk about her. This Filipina just wants you to be her husband. If there's a big age gap and she married you, then she doesn't mind about that. And go out in public together and things like that would be a good idea. And of course, encourage her to get to know other women at your church, especially if you can find someone that's mature, that can help her. Because I really don't like trying to give my wife certain biblical advice, because in Titus 2, it talks about older men teaching younger men, and older women teaching the younger women. So if I try to teach her stuff that a woman should teach her, well, obviously I have an agenda, or, what I'm saying? So there are certain things a woman should talk to a woman about, and I try not to. So that's why this channel is not for Filipinas and advice to them. It's for the men who are married to the Filipinas. Women's fellowship is important. And if your wife is shy, then you might have to wait a while before that happens. And she's in a new country. I mean, everybody's new. Everything is new. And she might not be trusting at first. If there's a lot of gossip in the Philippines, she may feel like, well, she's not going to trust everybody for a while. And so maybe she'll be a little slow to come around in that way. But women's fellowship, she shouldn't spend all of her time with me. I don't want to monopolize her time. She should go out with her friends. She's got some Filipina friends at work, and some that aren't at work. And sometimes they just go out and go shopping or something, and that's great. I feel really good for her. As much as I want to be with my wife, 25 hours a day, I know that's not what's best for her. Other things in the list here. Let's see. Just you can attend the marriage conference if you wanted to. We actually did that fairly soon after she got here. I wish we did it, more often. But so that was fun. And you're the spiritual head, so just try to be unselfish, be forgiving, just try to be Christ-like. That means being a servant leader. which is what Jesus was. He was the one that everybody will bow to one day. Yet he said, I did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. He washed the disciples' feet. He was a servant, even though he was God, Lord of Lords. And so that's why I say, husband needs to be a servant leader for his wife. Treat her as a queen. Put her needs and wants above your own. You won't be sorry, because the Bible also says, give and it shall be given unto you. It's not talking about money there in Luke 6:38, because it's talking about shall men give back to you. It's just talking general giving. Be a giver. If you give joy, you'll probably get joy. If you give, I don't know, comfort or something, you'll get that back. If you give generosity or generously, God will return that too. So putting her needs and wants above your own, that's just another biblical principle that really works out well for the husband. Try to eat some Filipino foods if she wants to cook them. I know my wife cooks a few things. I'm not wild about it. I like meat, and more meat. In the Philippines, they eat a lot of rice and stuff, and not the meat is not the main dish. I'm used to the meat being the main dish, so I have tried it. We do order out from a local, what's it called, Golden China, and there's a couple of Asian buffets we've gone to that are really good to go to and makes her feel more at home. Also, find some common interests that you have, or even develop them. My wife likes to travel, or, well, she wasn't able to travel, so now that she's here, she wants to do some traveling. So we've gone as far away as Paris, France, and Branson, Missouri, and Kansas City. We drove around there one day. And of course, we've been to the Philippines a couple of times, and I've enjoyed that. I didn't do any of that really when I was single. Didn't really want to. Didn't have anybody to do it with. But I do like going places with my wife. Another thing, as far as developing interests or doing things together, my wife likes musicals. We went to Cinderella. That was that might have been in one of the bigger Center for Performing Arts. A Little Mermaid was at an outdoor venue. Branson, we saw, who was that? Moses. Incredible. They had animals there, had people floating across the sky, or the audience. Really a big deal out there, and I liked it. We've gone to those plays and musicals, and I have to admit I'm impressed with the way they put those things on and the talent of the singers and the actors, and I'm not sorry we went. I'm glad we did. Visit Arizona. Well, Arizona and the 110-degree heat, that might be a good warm-up for the Philippines, John. But Arizona, there's a lot of people from the Midwest, from Nebraska, that go to Arizona for the winter. A lot of them, that's for sure. Michael, looking forward to traveling with fiance in the United States. Yeah, driving all over the country instead of small islands sounds fun to her. Yeah, and my wife was curious. She wanted to see different places. With her work schedule, that can be a little difficult. But the places we've gone, we've both enjoyed it. Gives us a lot of time to talk as well. So traveling with her, you may not be wild about it, but you're going to earn respect from your Filipina if you say, okay, I'm willing to try some of those things. Hi, Ken. Good to have you here. Phil, John from Phil's of Phoenix, long time no see. Michael, also in the Philippines at this time and up bright and early. I hope you've got your coffee. I've got my tea. Glad you guys are here. We're talking about ways to earn the respect of your Filipina. Another thing here, just try to like what she likes. Kind of ties in with the, the plays or the travel or the food or something. I mean, if she is interested in something, just try to like it yourself. Apologize readily. You're going to get a lot of practice, and it gets easier the more you do it. So try to be good at apologizing to her, because I know a lot of people say get to know them really well, but that's hard to do. I mean, I've got some videos. I probably have not done them yet. I've written about 140 some that I haven't even made yet. So some of these topics they're in my mind, but I haven't put them out yet. But one of them will be on, how much can you really expect to get to know this Filipino when she's so far away, and you're spending most of your time, on Skype or Facebook. So, we got married so quickly. We're still getting to know each other. But another thing here, avoid profanity and raising your voice. Us Americans here have the reputation of being rude and loud, and many times that is well deserved and describes the way I can be at times. And there's some rough patches early on, I think, for anybody in any relationship, even with the Filipina and the fine reputation they have. You're going to be at odds on some things. It's only natural. And, you have to kind of bite your lip if you're, used to swearing, because the Filipina is not used to hearing profanity. And so it sounds a lot worse to her. The way I look at it, she's going to hear enough of that at work. She doesn't need to hear it from me. Try to avoid raising your voice to her. That's something I need to work on, because if I feel like I'm not getting paid attention to or misunderstood, I tend to, my voice changes, my language changes, everything changes, and that can make you uncomfortable. So if you're upset, just try to be calm with your wife. Read some questions or some comments here if it's for me. Otherwise, I will move on. John, Phil's of Phoenix, in the beginning of the relationship, you will make many unintentional offenses. That's right. Learn to recognize them quickly, be ready to apologize quicker, and that will let your Filipina wife know that you're human and you care about the way she feels, when you do things like that. And apologize, and then try not to do it again. If you do apologize, you'll get plenty of practice, but hopefully in time over the years. I mean, I think my wife and I now, in almost 4 years, we used to kind of argue about really stupid things early on. Now I don't think we do that. Maybe some things that are more serious, but initially things will get on your nerves, and but yeah, that's just something to expect. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It doesn't mean the relationship isn't going to work. It doesn't mean the Filipina is not meshing with you. Just learn to say, I'm sorry I hurt you. Try to get her to communicate with you, and just try to keep short accounts. Like the Bible says, don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. There may be days you go to bed angry too, but always be ready after you calm down to try to make things better again. Getting married in the Philippines. Do you mean in March, Michael? Then another month later, back to USA for a couple months to work? Are you really going to get married in March? Is that what that says? That's pretty quick. You got to be pretty excited. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that is a big deal. That's for sure. And if you're getting married in the Philippines, I think even better, because then her family gets to be a part of that, possibly depending on your situation. I don't really know what that is. So these are just ways for your Filipina, for you to earn respect for your Filipina. Another one, let her buy new clothes for herself. It's very likely she's had to limit what she buys for a couple reasons. Number one, the money she makes, if she's like the older daughter, is going to go for everybody else and herself. She's not going to have much left over to buy something nice, like a nice tops or a nice dress, but she will probably want to go to a place where she can get something that's on sale. We went to the mall and I showed my wife, places she'd probably like to shop. There's Forever 21, and I don't think I can even remember them anymore. But there's a mall south of here, and then the one that's where we live, and she knows where she can go to. One day she told me she bought this dress for like $5. Beautiful summer dress, but really was, and it only cost her $5. So she'll appreciate it if you, especially early on, let her find out where the nice clothes stores are, and then she'll probably be real smart, because she's used to having to be frugal and look for good deals. So let her buy food or clothes for herself, rather. Let her buy accessories like a watch or a purse. Now, name brands are big in the Philippines, but my wife would have her eyes on like a Michael Kors purse or watch, but she didn't just go out and buy one because she saw one. She would go to 3 or 4 different stores and try to find out when it might be on sale. Kind of shops like my mom does. It just kind of walks around, and then if they happen to see something that's kind of been in their mind, and then it's on the right price, then they go buy it. So that's the way my wife is. So I let her buy some of these things for herself. 56 tomorrow. Ken, you're 56 tomorrow? If so, happy birthday. Your wife, 46. Oh, keep going here. You guys can talk about that. Ways to help earn your Filipinas respect. And I do think it has to be earned, and it's a very satisfying experience. I've got tons of ways anybody can do. The more of these you can do, the more she will respect you. Also, for example, show her your finances. Budget. If you're a budgeter, kind of show her where you got the numbers. Checkbooks. I'm the one that handles the money. I've offered it to my wife because if I died tomorrow, she's going to have to know these things. And so I feel like that will earn her respect, because I'm preparing her for that. But I'm also letting her know, here's a checking account for you. Here's a debit card that's for both of us. She has her own credit card. And so we've got all of our money stuff figured out. And, she likes to have us charge things because she gets cash back. I think we got like $400 or something recently back. She has me use the Fuel Saver card Just the other day, I got like $10.58 off of my gasoline. So yeah, my wife is right again. So, but let her see how you do the money. Don't keep it a secret. Generally, I don't think husband and wife should have secrets between each other. And my view is, even if she's from another country, younger, doesn't matter. I still treat her like if she was from here. So try to uh, look at your accounts as your accounts. Like I say, our checking accounts, our money, our, I even say our, 401k or pension, or our social security, because it is, maybe I earned most of it because I've been here. But it's just my position that's for her too. Da, da, da. Yeah, Michael, give her security, not just financial, but emotional, spiritual, physical, and she will respect her man. Those are important things. She wants to feel safe and secure, and if the man is rough with her words, or he raises his voice, he uses bad language, he puts her down, he's not trying to build her up. That's not good. If your supervisor was always belittling you, um, you're not going to respect him. You're going to grow to hate him, probably, if that's the way he or she is. So try to build her up, build her self-esteem. Women's self-esteem tends to be lower than a man's. So helping her emotionally, spiritually, physically, and she will respect her husband. Um, yeah, can love her like Jesus loved the church, and that's an easy thing to say, but it's so profound. It's really, I don't want to get on a soapbox here, but loving her like Christ loved the church, that's love is something you demonstrate. It's not a feeling. At least that's what I'll tell you. It's not a feeling, it's not an emotion. It's something that you do, and it's best observed when there's nothing you get in return. I'm not sure what Jesus got when he endured hell for a sinful bride, but that's what he wanted to do, because he wanted to bless her. And then he gave her eternal life forever and ever. And it just seems silly. Why would somebody that's sinless do that? Well, because that's love. It just blows your mind. But love, this is what I try to do with my wife, whatever's best for her. I'll do it. I'll sacrifice for her. And I have not had anything to complain about yet, because I've also made the statement that women are responders. And if they're treated wrongly, they will respond a certain way. And if they're treated correctly, they will respond, a certain way. And it's much easier for her to be the helper if the husband can first, be her servant leader. This woman, um, you know, uh, then she's a woman, she'll respond. I remember the days all the cheerleaders were women, cheering on the male athletes. Now they got male cheerleaders, but men tend to be the leaders, and the women tend to be the followers. I don't want to upset any strong-willed women, but I think in general that's just kind of how it goes. So um, if my wife doesn't respect me, then the way I look at it, I need to do something different. Find out why. Is there something I'm not doing right? But I don't want to get too much into that. It's very heavy stuff, actually, to sacrifice for your wife. I mean, it's not an option either. And it just means basically doing whatever's best for her at any expense to yourself. And that doesn't mean you can't have a great marriage. It just means the priority is, her first above myself. Also, give her advice, but give her the freedom to make decisions. You can advise her, but give her some freedom. She'll mature faster that way. If you're not making all the decisions for her, you'll have to decide, how to work that out. But I think she'll just, grow up faster that way. Also, don't put down the Philippines. John, you said you're going to unintentionally do some things to upset her. You could easily, say something like, just using the term third world country. My wife hates that because to her, it's a put down. So, when I say that, and I try not to say it anymore, I don't mean it as a put down. And but the way she responds to it means I shouldn't do that because, she's let me know she doesn't like when I say that. So it's just a simple thing that I can do for her. Two spirit-filled people to serve each other. Yeah, they really do. The wife serves by being a helper to her husband any way he needs it. And the husband serves the wife by, giving his life for her, whatever she needs, whatever he needs to sacrifice. And it's kind of a mutual service. Mentally and spiritually grow, similar match. We all fall short. And, two people that are both Christians, they're both sinners. So they're going to get on each other's nerves. But at least, they know they can, forgive each other and ask God to help them to, do better where they're coming up short. Also, don't remind her that you're from America or whatever first world country you live in as if you're trying to impress her, because it's quite possible she's not impressed anyway, because she loves the Philippines. And, I'm never going to take the Philippines out of the Filipina. And I try to learn. I actually think this is another thing that's probably not on the list. Try to learn about the Philippines, keep up with what's going on over there. If I happen to catch wind of a typhoon or something, no pun intended, I'll ask her, did that hit close to your city or something like that, or something Duterte has done? I'll ask her about that, see if she's keeping up on that. My wife even wanted to learn how to mow the lawn, so I taught her how to mow the lawn. I've got a video on that from a long time ago. Only been watched, I don't know, a dozen times or so, I don't know. But she's out there pushing that lawnmower around. She wanted to have something to do for exercise, so about half the time or a little less than that, she would cut the grass. Also, here's another way: don't expect her to show PDA, public display of affection. Just be happy for what you get. I was kind of hoping for a lot of public display of affection, but in the Philippines, that's not something that Filipinos are generally comfortable with, Michael. So I don't know if you've thought about that, Michael. Public display of affection. Filipinos often feel that that's kind of indecent. So, they're probably more private and in public as far as that goes. Praying together, being accepting. You're two flawed individuals. My wife and I we know that now. We got engaged in 18 days, got married in 54. We both wanted to do that. We both wanted to kind of learn more about each other on the fly. We just decided at first, well, I'm a Christian. I want a Christian, and that's the way she felt. So we got married quickly. found out how sinful we were, and then we had to start learning to, ask each other's forgiveness and to be unselfish, and nothing better for revealing your weak spots than getting married. And it's a good thing. You should do that. You should want to do that. Michael, you're familiar with Dawson Creek in the Philippines, and he made the comment somewhere. I don't know whose. Maybe it was on Tom's thing. He said, "What did he say?" He said, "I know love hurts, but I want it anyway." And I'm actually gonna, as a title of a video I want to do, because it's such an insightful comment. Love does hurt. Don't shy away from it. It's gonna hurt. It will, but the benefits are outweigh, the hurt, and you can learn about the things you do wrong. You're going to screw up a lot, and just be willing to ask, for forgiveness and apologize and be good to each other. And there's nothing better in the world, in my opinion, than having a wife. And the Filipina makes a Western man a very, very good wife. Oh, PDA is public display of affection, holding hands. Kissing in public would be public display of affection. It could just be holding hands, could be your arm around her. Some women are more PDA than others. Filipinas probably not. I think they're kind of uncomfortable with that. Although my wife picks her spots. If we're in a place that we don't live, she might hold my hand or something. Or in church, we're in the back of the church, she puts her arm around me, but we're in the back of the church. Only person can see us there is the pastor. So that's, public display of affection. I have a video on public display of affection. If you guys want PDA, watch that video and learn what I've learned about a Filipina with that. Kiss, hug, not every moment, once in a while in the store. I can't see my wife kissing me in public in a store, Ken. She'd be scared to death probably, because that's just where she's from. My wife considers that, that's only liberal women, do that. That's just her sense of modesty. So again, one of those things I can't force on her. I just have to recognize that that's the way she is, and just accept what I can get. Another way here that I have helped my wife, I think, earn some respect for me, is just to let her decorate our place. Now, to a lot of guys, we don't really care. Some people do. They've been single all their life. They like this over here and this to look like that. And the Filipina, she's going to have her own ideas of how your place should look. And so I've let my wife have, and when we moved down here, nobody had lived here. This is a townhouse we bought, and my mom lives with us. And so I let my wife pick out the colors. And some of this furniture you see was from our apartment. Bedroom furniture, I think we bought all of that. We bought the TV there. You can't see it in the stand, but kind of let her have her way with the way this place looks. And I think she appreciates that. Kissing here is not done in public. Yeah, I don't recall seeing it myself. Maybe it doesn't happen as much anymore. Maybe we're too old for that. I don't know, but holding hands is one thing I kind of like to do. So let her decorate your place. How about this? Let her make recommendations on your clothes or your appearance. So you guys that are involved with Filipinas, does your Filipina ever make suggestions on the style of clothes you have or your hair? My wife says my hair looks like a woman's hair now, and she's probably right. I'm not crazy about it either. So maybe in a few weeks, I'll have my long-term person that does my hair. I won't tell her that, but I'm kind of losing favor with it too. Yeah, she is wise in clothes, decorating, great organizer. Can yeah, and it helps her. She'll feel good about that. It's her home too. It's her nest. She wants to be comfortable with it. She might want to get rid of some older things and replace them with newer things. My wife has completely redone our storage room. It looks very nice. It doesn't look like a storage room. Everything is in a box and it's stacked up nice. I hate clutter, and you know she's got everything is arranged really nice. Our pantry is arranged really nice, so that makes her feel like this is the home she wants to come home to. If she gets to decorate it, my wife will move things around once in a while. I don't know why. It looks fine the way it is, and I'll come home and a chair will be over here, a sofa will be over there, and but that's fine. I'm not going to get in her way. And like with when I married her, well, before we got married, I had a beard, and then I knew she didn't like it, but she didn't tell me I had to shave it off. But then I did, and I surprised her with it. And well, then she got here, and she decided she liked the beard, maybe because 90% of men here seem to have beards. And then I shaved it off. Then she wanted me to shave it off. And then she wanted me to grow it back. I think we'll just keep it off. But anyway, I was willing to do that for her. And you know, I had some I thought nice clothes when I married her, but I think she thought maybe they were a little too old-fashioned or something. She didn't like them, so she went out and bought me some nice clothes. I have to admit, she does have a nice sense of fashion. And fashion challenge, most of us guys are, Michael. It can be embarrassing. A woman's touch. Yeah, my wife likes to, dress up her father and me, and she has her idea of what looks nice. She'll roll up my sleeves. There's a certain way, I guess, they roll up their sleeves in the Philippines. It's not the way I've always rolled up my long sleeve shirts, but she when we first married, she laid out my clothes for me, on the chair or something. She'd roll up the sleeves. She'd pick the shirt and the pants and the shoes. One day I snuck back in bed before I had to go to work. The lights were off. I don't know how she could see me, and it's like she just opens her eyes for a split second in the dark and says, reverse brown belt to black, wear black shoes, and that shuts her eyes. Like, how she could even see, I don't know, but she's always thinking about, I guess, me looking good. In fact, my wife tells me that the way the husband looks is a reflection on her. Just like she doesn't want people to see her husband look like he's, starving, because it looks like she can't feed him and take good care of him. She'll probably take it personally the way you dress, and so try to give her a little leeway there in what she might want to change with you. Yeah, she'll be in charge of the home, Michael, and that's exactly what my wife said. She said, I will be in charge of things outside the home, and she will be in charge of things inside the home. So let it be. And that's the way we've done it. And now she did want to trim my beard, because even though she'd never done it before, she thought she could do better than the barber, who had probably gone to school or something. And yeah, she got pretty good at it. She liked doing it. We'd go outside on the deck, and she'd get her scissors and everything and get it all trimmed up. Now, when we're in the Philippines for good, I'll let her cut my hair too. Um, she always thinks she can do everything, so we'll just let her see about that later. But I will let her do that. Also, I've talked about tempo, or excuse me, tempo, as my wife pronounces it, tempo. I think don't let it upset you if it happens. I've got a video on basically trying to understand where it comes from, what she's thinking, why she's doing it. I know it's alarming at first, but there is, she doesn't do it because she wants to just be quiet for a few days. Just take a look at that video. I mean, she has a reason for doing it. I don't think it's anything to sweat about unless it becomes a real issue with your Filipina. So, just let it go. That's my advice. Uh, don't make it worse. If she's upset with you, you've probably done something to deserve it, like I have. And if I just let it go within a day or less, she comes out of it. And what I've read about Tempo is you'll make it worse if you try to reason with her and tell her you don't like it. That's just what I've read. You can make it even worse. Um, I heard earlier before I lost signal about wives working. Initially, when we first met, we chatted about her working. Now we decide after marriage she will not work. Thing about, well, I would have been happy for my wife to, um, if she wasn't working, to just do something fulfilling. But she wants to work, and because she wants to provide for her family, and so. But yeah, Michael, that's between you and her. If she's not going to work, something to be aware of there. I've got a video on boredom for the Filipina. It's like, what's it called? The Filipina with time on her hands or something. Because, she's going to want to find something to do to get her mind off of being away from home. And, just my advice, Michael, would be just make sure she's not spending copious amounts of time alone. Um, Now she'll want to spend time using that for Facebook and stuff like that, but there is a 14-hour time zone difference, so she can't always do that. So anyway, just think about that, because I was okay if my wife didn't work, but she wanted to work, and she got very bored and lonely, waiting for me to come home, and so everything has been fine for us since I let her go back to work, or let her work there. I'm Meb Vlogs, IMEB Vlogs. Thank you for joining the conversation here today. I'm just talking about some things about how to earn the respect of your Filipina. Lots of practical things. I don't think are very hard, but just want to get it out there so people understand there's lots of ways to earn the respect of your Filipina. There's things you can do, and I got like 4 pages of stuff. Now, I will try to get as many of these as I can in the description box so that anybody can print them off or look at them, or make you think about some other ways that you can earn the respect of your Filipina fiance, girlfriend, wife. There's things to do, things to not do. And these are just, more or less everyday things, little things that, add up to earning her respect. And another would be here, for example, be glad to see her and try to greet her when she comes home. I can get wrapped into what I'm doing down here in the basement. My wife is going to come home upstairs. And I know when she's home because I either hear the electric garage door open, or I hear the door open. And I know that she prefers that, it's not an hour before I show up there. So I've kind of had to make this a habit to keep my eye on the clock. And then when I can tell that she's here, go up, give her a hug, give her a kiss. If she's been shopping, then I want to help her bring in the grocery bags. And that's a little thing. But if she comes home and she feels like her husband is avoiding her, it's harder for her to respect him. So that's just a little thing. Be glad to see her and try to greet her when she comes home. Aim for transparency. Don't hide phone messages or emails. I did a video on social media transparency that ties in with this. that's just me. I mean, that's just my personality. And I know if that's not somebody's personality, it's going to be harder for them to be transparent. So my point here is just when you are transparent, then she can trust you better. And if she can trust you better, then she can respect you more easily. Yeah, yeah, the boredom for your wife. I mean, you might think, Michael, wow, she's here in this country and she's going to be so excited. Reality is, early on, she's going to be really sad. In all likelihood, very sad. She might be crying. Doesn't mean that she's indicating to you that she's made a mistake. It's just the way it is. When we go back to the Philippines, um, it's always a tearful hello when we go back there and meet her family at the airport, and it's even worse when we leave. And then my wife will cry on the plane, and that's just because leaving her family, even if she's been there 2 or 3 times already since we've been married, it's still hard. And if she's home, just have to watch out for boredom. So good. Yeah, I'm glad that you talked with her about that. Anything you can do to kind of be aware of what she's thinking, feeling, what she's believing about her day, what she's experiencing, keep an eye on her body language. And if something seems off, I'm sure you guys are the type of guys that would ask her, is everything okay? Is there something I can do for you? And those sorts of little gestures, earn the respect of your Filipina. Um, she's going to need you to be, very kind and encouraging early on, because she's going to be a fish out of water. It's going to be tough. I can sit here 3 years and 9 months being married, so glad I don't have to go through the early years. But what I can do is, in videos or live streams, talk to people who are involved with the Filipina or thinking about it, about ways to help survive early on. The arguments, the first argument. Uh, just don't overreact. Be patient. Don't overreact. There are two things I would remind people early on. Uh, Throwing plates is not good. That's for sure. Tempo over throwing things anytime. So just some other things you can do here is be available when she wants you to do something with her at that time. And I know most people, well, I don't know. I'm not, I mean, who is the average person? I'm not spontaneous. I like to focus on what I'm doing, and I prefer not to be bothered. But, if you're married to somebody that's more spontaneous, that could drive you crazy unless you realize that, God puts you together. I don't care if He puts you together with a woman 25 years younger. If God puts you together, He puts you together. And you need each other, and you can be good to each other, and you should be. And one of those things may mean you get out of your comfort zone once in a while. And there are times I might be at the computer doing something, my wife's on the sofa watching TV, and she says, "Hon, come over here and sit with me." Or she'll be upstairs watching TV with my mom. "Hon, come up here and watch TV with us." And you know, it's just, I try to finish what I'm doing, try to keep peace, realize it's important to her. I mean, my wife likes to watch some things on TV more than I do. She likes watching romance shows, love stories, I guess, and some mysteries. We sat one day and we watched, like, I don't know, 8 hours of some kind of, oh boy, I can't even remember what it's called. some series, like one after the other. I wish I knew what it was called, but I don't. But we just sat there and watched it, and it was very interesting. And that's what she likes to do, curl up on the sofa on her days off. So, there are times I have to sacrifice some time and curl up there with her, and that's good for us. If it's good for her, then I look at it that it's good for us. Teach her how to eat healthy, um, but try not to be demanding. Um, I I know early on, with my wife, I mean, she's 4'11", 92 pounds, and then we go shopping, and she's throwing these chips in the bag, and then throwing these cookies there, and I'm like, this stuff is no good. You have to, don't eat that stuff. It's just all sugar. And you know, I think she eats well now, but it was just alarming to me. You know, anyway, she says, "Well, I have good genes. I'm not going to gain weight." Well, a lot of people have said that. So anyway, yeah, white rice, for example. Here's a thing I hadn't had on my list. I like brown rice. I used to eat rice 3, 4 times a day. I'd make a bunch of it and just divide it up, and then each meal I'd have rice, brown rice. Well, I don't eat rice at all now because I just I don't like to cook. My wife makes white rice, and you know just let her eat white rice. I don't think white rice is the healthiest rice in the world. I think brown rice is better. Probably any other kind of rice, but she's used to white rice, and so no point in insisting on other kind of rice if she's prefers to eat white rice. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? White rice, um, because she's still going to eat it, probably 3 times a day when she's with you in your country. Um, in fact, um, now one other thing, excuse me, I've learned that I think helps earn some respect for my wife is I keep an eye on the rice cooker, and when the rice cooker is empty, then I make sure that about a half hour before I think she's going to be home, I put in some rice and some water and turn it on so it's ready for her. And that took me about 2 or 3 years to do, but now it's a habit. If I see that the rice cooker needs to be cleaned, then I'll get that cleaned up before I clean anything else, so that the rice cooker is ready for my wife. Processed stuff, American food, basket of goodies. Um, yeah, I mean, she's going to have access to everything, and that means more types of food. And I want my wife to, keep that little figure of hers if as long as possible, and and she eats well. In fact, she can go long times without even eating at all, probably because she's done that in the Philippines. Processed food, how healthy I would be if I didn't eat any processed food. I grew up eating processed food. I used to take Pepsi to bed. I used to take bread to bed because, I mean, I'm a sugar addict. My dad was an alcoholic, and I've been told that by a counselor that children of alcoholics tend to be addicted to sugar. No question, I've had a love affair with sugar since I can remember being alive. Always, always liked sugar, and now I despise it because I keep learning more and more about the white processed sugar, and it doesn't mean I avoid it completely, but kind of wish I could. You make potatoes, yeah, potatoes and rice. I would be happy eating oatmeal, all the time. I know my wife made me potatoes today with pork chop. I'm not a big potato fan either, but I do appreciate her food. Got to always thank her for for making that food for me. Honor, obey, protect, love, cherish. Yeah, this is what you want to do for each other. Nothing better than having a good wife. I used to have an older gentleman, an elder at church, say, Bob, there's nothing better than a good woman, and there's nothing worse than a bad one. And I would say I agree wholeheartedly with that. So also, as I said, have rice available. Oh, encourage her not to overwork. Filipinas have very strong work ethics. Wouldn't you guys agree with that? And well, I guess they're just used to it back home. And if anything, I have to, tell my wife. I mean, sometimes she jokes at me. You want me to work, 60 hours a week? She's just joking with me because she'll work 60 hours a week if she can. And I have to say, well, sometimes she'll say, yeah, I think I only want to work 6 hours a day, or I don't want to go in today for overtime. And I just say, sure, hon, you know your own body. You know when you've had too much overtime. And again, I don't want to treat her like a child. I have to give her the freedom to realize, maybe working that much overtime isn't a good idea. I give her the freedom to make mistakes, not control her life, because that helps earn respect. Trying to control her does not earn respect. Like at work, if your supervisor is a micromanager, if your supervisor is a controller, you can't respect him. I mean, you're probably not going to, because nobody likes to be micromanaged. Strong work ethic. What does IMEB stand for? I don't want to be misrepresenting it. I just don't know what that stands for. IMEB vlogs. Strong work ethic, yes, here in the Philippines. 6 days a week. Yeah, my wife would easily work 6 days a week. Thing is, her schedule, well, it was 5 days a week, and she'd work 6. Then everybody had to go to 12-hour days. So it's 4 12-hour days this week, 3 12-hour days the next week. So that's 7 12-hour days in 14, leaving 7 days for overtime. And so she'll work 3 or 4 out of those 7 days for overtime in a 2-week period. And yeah, 12 hours a day, not uncommon, 6 days a week, in the Philippines. And so if she's younger and she has a strong work ethic, just keep an eye on her. And, it's okay to say, hon, you sure you want to work this weekend? And maybe she wants to hear you say that because she's getting tired, and she would rather have her husband say, hey, hon, why don't you just take this weekend off? You've been working really hard. So I think she would like that. Initials. Oh, for your name. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that, Michael. So we got 2 Michaels on here, and I'm good seeing you guys here from Tom and Ruth Adventures. Tom has an excellent channel. Tom is in the Philippines. I think he's probably the go-to guy these days in the Philippines. Anybody watching here later who is not participating now, Tom and Ruth Philippines Adventures, he's the guy I want to ask about anything related to living out there. My focus here is just on the relationship side of things. As a longtime single who desperate to be married, I want to encourage other people, because time is going by so fast. The days go by so fast, the years go by so fast, and I don't want other people to wait till they're 53 to find a good woman and get married. So I even have a video or 2 on younger men, how they should think about the Philippines, because if it's tough finding somebody in a Western country now, who's to say 5 or 10 years it's going to be any? Maybe the younger guys have to keep an eye on the Philippines too. the guy at work was 37 where I work, and he found out my wife and I met on Christian Filipina. He joined up a few months later, got found a girlfriend there. They got engaged, and she should be over here next month, hopefully. Her interview is coming up here pretty soon. So he's the younger guy going out to the Philippines and getting married. And, this is a pro-marriage, pro-Filipina channel, and want to help, encourage treating the Filipinas right, because they do make great wives. Another thing, stick up for her, whatever situation. If she needs some support, somebody to be in her corner and stick up for her, she will earn your respect for sticking up for her. Also, little things like this. My wife says, "Hun, bring me some water." And Filipina's fingers are, like French fries. They're very small. So I always open her water, because she doesn't have to struggle with it. Just a little thing like that. Here, hon, here's your water. Loosen the cap, and she appreciates that. And that's just a little thing. Let's see. Well, early on, I would send her love songs from YouTube, like on, what is it, Viber. We used Viber a lot early on. You find some love song, and send it to her and say, "This is what I'm thinking about you today," something corny like that. Of course, go out on dates together. And that's kind of easier said than done, because if she's working, it can be a challenge sometimes to find that valuable time to go out together. But yeah, it's very important to continue to date the Filipina once you get married. So, when a guy gets married, he's not that far removed from being single. And if he was single for a while, he might be set in his ways, and it could be easy to go back to living like you're single when you're married to somebody that just went halfway across the world to be with you. So being married is a completely different mindset, and it's just very helpful to try to win her over, so to speak. It's not probably the way I should have said it, but you still pursue her in a sense by going out, having fun, going out on dates, trying new things. My wife and I are pretty much homebodies, so we love coming home and staying home, whether it's just lying in bed looking at our phones, or talking, or watching TV or something like that. I'm a lucky guy. We're not going in opposite directions in a lot of ways. A lot of ways we're similar, and I wasn't looking for that. That's just part of the deal with us. Yeah, got to stick up for her. When, if you retire here, being married to Filipinas, should be eligible for Phil Health? Well, what I want to know about that, Michael, if you know, is pre-existing conditions. Now, we've got really good insurance here where I work, and well, we have dental insurance too, but they will not cover pre-existing conditions for my wife. So, that was kind of alarming, because, and dental insurance generally can be hard to get anyway. But what I'm worried about, Michael, is I go to the Philippines, I need a knee replacement. I'm 57. You want to do it as late in life as possible, because you don't want to do it twice. They're only good for about 20 years. Most people are in their 60s before they have it, and that's a good idea. If I have a bad knee, I've had 3 knee surgeries, I've had 3 shoulder surgeries, I've had carpal tunnel in both wrist surgeries, I've had back surgery, I've got a bad neck. Do you think if I go and get Phil Health or my wife has Phil Health and I get it through her, that pre-existing conditions will be covered. I wouldn't expect them to. It'd be nice if the not pre-existing conditions would be covered. Let's say I go out there and I can't say slip on ice, but break my leg or something, or get run over by a jeepney or something. Is surgery coverable? Yeah, knee replacement. She's 70. We may be in the Philippines when I'm 62. And if it's a pre-existing condition, I wouldn't be surprised if they do what they did to my wife here and say, oh, her teeth, well, that's a pre-existing condition. We can't do that. So then we got to decide, we spend a lot of money here or go to the Philippines, and maybe, the quality isn't quite the same. That's probably my biggest concern really is, for me becoming an expat is, will pre-existing conditions be covered? What if I have a heart attack? Um, would they cover that? Yeah, if you have the insurance. Well, that's just the thing. Some days I feel like I'm ready for it. I actually have rooster grease. They call it chicken grease, rooster grease injections you can put in your knee 3 consecutive weeks, and then you don't do it for 6 months. But that's what we're doing now to kind of stave off that knee replacement. Is I think they make it from that thing on the rooster, what they call it, the crown or something. Grind it up, and it's kind of an oily substance, and they inject that in your knee, and it's supposed to help provide some cushion, lubrication, something like that. Anyway, the medical is my concern. Really, is the cost, but there's still time to figure out that. But yeah, anything I can get done here, we'd like to do in the States. Chicken grease didn't work for your mother? Yeah, I've had so many surgeries. I kind of enjoy it, to be honest with you. I mean, I had eye surgery when I was young. Uh, I had lazy eye and eye issues. It's almost like I grew up in a hospital. I've always felt comfortable in hospitals. I know some people are scared to death of hospitals. I've spent so many hospitals and surgeries, and I don't really want to have any more, but I do feel comfortable there. But chicken grease until I get that knee replacement, and we have a really good orthopedic surgeon here for that. So hopefully I can get that done. A lot of people at work have had that done too. Let's see. Some more things that are in respect of your wife would be, try to be clean. We talked about clothes and appearance. She probably wants you to look nice, probably wants you to smell nice. I know my wife, at times at work, it's taking out a comb, made my hair look nice, roll up my sleeves before I go out, hon, comb your hair, stuff like that. So yeah, she wants me to look nice. And I always try to take a shower before I go to bed. Sometimes I don't really want to, but it's just for her. Try to get clean, put on some cologne, get in the bed, be nice and clean with her. Sometimes she says, hon, you smell, did you take a shower? So I try to stay clean for her. Say thank you often. The first one I think we started with tonight. Say I love you a lot. Tell her in person. Tell her in texts, social media. I'd say email, but my wife never looks at her emails. She's got over 1,000 emails to delete. I don't think they use email much in the Philippines, because she never checks it. I mean, she could win the Reader's Digest sweepstake or something, and she never know if they sent her an email. But there's lots of ways to say I love you. Viber stickers, it never gets old. It's just a way to keep in touch. It never gets old. Oh, don't stare at other women if you're with her in public. She'll notice that. Don't compare her. You know, I don't even want to say stuff like, "Oh, so and so, but they're really, really good cook" or something like that. I mean, I want my wife to know and believe that I appreciate everything she does more than anyone else. So, yeah, don't look at other people. Build her reputation. Um, I try to do that here on this channel, and I hope that you guys do with your Filipina. I try to build her reputation. That doesn't mean she's um, perfect, but I want her to be seen in the best light possible. And I'm sure she respects that. And I honestly believe that my wife is able to keep our spats in house. She does not go out there if she has something against me and start blabbing it to her friends or her family. She doesn't do that, and that's a good thing. And conversely, I shouldn't be doing that to others. And try to build her reputation and let her know you care about her character, because we all are, probably all of us are going to marry someone that we're physically attracted to. That's just natural, and we're smart enough to know that we live long enough, that's going to fade. However, the character, that's what holds the marriage together. It's character, and the longer I live, the more true that is. And I see women that are really hot, but boy, they don't seem like there's any depth to them, and the things they do, it's really ugly, is what it is. And if you got a good wife, good Filipina, those qualities of character are just golden. And so I always tell her, I appreciate the things that she does that show her character. Another way you could earn some respect is let her in on your feelings. For some of us, that's easier to do than others. But, if she has to pry my thoughts and feelings out of me, that's not best. It's better if I kind of confide in her once in a while, say, "Hon, I'm really hurting, or I'm really frustrated, or this happened, or, this didn't happen." And, just let her in on her feelings. That's just something that can help. Also, a lot of non-sexual touch is important for most women. Um, and this isn't PDA, because this is just what I'm talking about. It's just you and her together. Um, Non-sexual touch, like just, rub her shoulders, rub her back, whatever, just to let her know that, she's more to you than just a sex toy or something. Be gentle with her, and she will respect that. She will. Also, take care of your health. Help her take care of hers. One of the first things we did when we got here was um, we went and looked for a female doctor for her. I don't even remember how we did that, but we did find one. We must have got a recommendation from somewhere. And so I even went with her on the first couple of appointments, because I wanted to hear what the her female doctor was telling her. Not that I didn't trust my wife, but she can be kind of private, and I did it to show her, the people in the doctor's office, that this is my wife. We're together, and I want to know how she's doing. I want my wife to know that I'm concerned about her health, and you know, in the Philippines, they just kind of grind it out. might not go to the hospital as much as they should because they can't afford it. And so if you can, encourage your wife, go to the doctor, get this checked out, check things regularly. You might really, save down the road if she gets things checked. So that's just another way to earn respect, is show care for her health. Another way, just reinforce that she is number one to you behind God. As far as the bedroom, put her needs first. And the reason I say that is because, in 1 Corinthians 7, it says, the husband does not have power over his own body, but the wife does not have power over her own body, but the husband. And in a perfect world, which we don't live in, but a perfect world, that's how it is. You do everything you can to accommodate each other for the other's sake. And so if my wife's body belongs to me and if my body belongs to her, then effectively, sex is for the other person. And because of the way things work, it's just better that way too. So anyway, I hope you can see, what I mean about that. It's a very intimate experience, and it's best when you just focus on the other person. That shows great respect for her. Also, compliment her often. My wife's a hard worker. It's kind of like saying thank you, but tell her you appreciate how talented she is, how skilled she is. Not just that she did something that you're thankful for, but that she did it well. Her housekeeping, good lover. She's frugal. You appreciate that she's not materialistic. You don't have to worry about, overspending. Compliment her on her appearance. That never gets old for her either. Play some Filipino music for her on YouTube. I actually like the songs in the Philippines. Of course, some of them are wedding songs, so they have a place in my heart. But play some of that music for her. I did that one time, and she was crying because it made her sad because it reminded her of the Philippines. So other times, it might brighten her spirit. So I guess you got to be careful with that. What else? Help around the house, like something I don't like to do at all: washing the dishes, doing the laundry, and but not necessarily her job, but that's a good thing to do. And then the last thing I have on my list here is tell her you love her multiple times a day. I kind of alluded to that earlier. And these are some of the ways I try to earn the respect of my love beyond the sea. So, if you guys want to talk about that or something else, that's just a crash course in some things that, anyone can do, little things you can do right away. If you're engaged, dating, or married, you can start doing those things and to earn her respect. And then it will just become more natural for her. So you guys, I really appreciate everybody being here. I didn't announce this. If I had 1,000 subscribers, which I don't, I would just do a post and say, hey, in a couple of days, I've got this video coming up. Here's what's going to be about. So I just did it because I thought, well, I wanted to do it. I felt like I could, I just felt like I was in the mood to do one. So that's what the topic was today. Do you guys have any comments, anything at all about foreigners, Filipinas, anything at all? Otherwise, we will conclude this live stream. It's more of a video live stream that if anybody is here, we can talk. And I'm glad we did. I appreciate the comments of everybody tonight. And don't know when we'll do another one, maybe next week, maybe in a couple of weeks. I don't know, but stay tuned to Love Beyond the Sea, because I hope to do this for the long term. The more I learn, I want to be able to help foreigners seek a Filipina, and then help them to have a good relationship with them. So thanks, Michael. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. It's 8:45 Central Time here in the central part of the United States. Some of you guys are up early in the Philippines, so I hope this was a good way to start your day. Everybody be safe and take care. And till next time, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Thanks for being here.